Hello, this is William Tincup and Ryan Leary, and you're listening and watching Inside the C-Suite podcast. We have Jennifer on today, so we're going to learn her journey. At least up till now, we've probably got a little bit more of the journey to go, but
All
we'll
of her
talk about that.
journey.
Yeah. So, Jennifer, would you do us a favor and introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Jennifer Schielke. I was born and raised in Hawaii, went to the mainland for college in Tacoma, Washington, at the University of Puget Sound. Was fortunate enough to work for Deloitte right out of college and set me on the right path forward. Did a lot of fun things and ended up co-founding a company called Summit Group Solutions with my husband, which we still have. We're in our 16th year and have 2 kids. 2 giant labs, and we relocated in 2020 to Scottsdale, Arizona.
During the COVID, during the COVID, sorry, the internet.
The COVID, that's
During
when we moved.
During the COVID.
I mocked Ryan the other day because he said the softwares.
Stop it.
I'm like, did you say the
It's
softwares?
so bad.
But yeah,
It's so bad. I went back and I had to edit that out, Jennifer,
You
of the
edited it
episode.
out? That's
I
not
did,
fair.
and I shouldn't
Dude,
have, but it was
no.
hilarious. I don't even know that I did it. I might have left it in.
Let's make him
But
say
I
it
did.
5 times during this one.
I said softwares, and I was like,
Softwares.
maybe and he caught it.
Oh yeah.
The
I said,
internet.
I said deers the other night, and my kids were like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, we're not
It's
good
multiple deers. They're just there's a bunch of deers over there. So was it at the beginning of COVID, or was it just during kind of all the madness?
It was well, I feel like in Washington State at least it lasted a very long time. So
Right.
we left in September.
Yeah. Okay.
Late September, and we had visited here. My father-in-law lived here. We had
Right.
visited in May, and it was like a different world.
Oh, it is
And
a
it's
completely
sunny.
different world.
So
Yes.
yeah, my mom was actually sick at that time. Oddly, you hear about the Life Care Center and things like that. So
Right.
I knew
Right.
those places very, very well, and had an inside journey into that. That just, quite honestly, upset me at many different levels. And
Oh
so
yeah.
Arizona, especially Scottsdale, there's so many facilities. So the hope was to bring her here, but that didn't end up happening. So
Right.
it just became a new journey for my family in a very
Right.
sunny place.
The thing about, because I was telling you pre-show, my wife and I, we went to grad school at U of A down in Tucson,
Mhm.
and we had come from Birmingham. So Birmingham has 4 seasons, right? And it's rainy. Tucson has actually 1 season with a splice of, just a splash of something else. But one thing that I got really used to, is every day I'm gonna see the sun.
Yeah,
Sun's there. Like
that's
there's
what
no
I say too.
questions.
Yeah.
Like you won't wake up and go, I wonder what the weather's gonna be like today.
Yes,
It's gonna be dry and hot. There you go.
absolutely.
I'll retire in Tucson because
Wow.
I loved it that much. And
It's really hot though.
but the thing is it's hot.
Don't
But
give me the dry heat.
no, I'm in Texas.
112 is
The
112.
pool is not hot. The pool is nice and cool.
Pool. That is a little freakish though. Like in June, you get in the pool and it's warm water.
You're looking
You're
at
like,
who else is in the pool
"Hell,
with you. Yeah.
things are bad.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
am I here?" So tell us a little about the company that you and your husband have.
So it's an IT staffing and recruiting firm. So
Yep.
we always say we have the opportunity to unite talent and technology. We're not the brilliance in the technology or the
Right.
softwares for Ryan. But we are the ones who
This is
find
gonna
the
keep coming
talent.
up.
I'm telling you, I'm going to get him to say it again.
I hope
We
so.
Make me tell
bring
people
the
you're a
talent.
CPA.
I am not. We talked about tucking that away. But it's amazing. This is what my husband always did. And I had the business side. So pairing us together just seemed to make sense. And it was his suggestion. And for us, I think we have such different backgrounds and personalities. The
Right.
line just drew itself. And
Wow.
so it works. And he's very passionate about this. It took me a while. I was in my
Right.
safe spaces with biotech and SEC reporting and
Yeah, of course.
consulting, and I could come in and out. But then this was all about people. And it was exhausting. And I just watched things happen for about 4 years before I really engaged.
Right.
So
Right. Because it was easier for you to just do the back office stuff.
Oh yeah, I only had to rely on myself, and that made it easy, and lawyers and other accountants. So that made it really easy. It's just a different world when you have the people aspect, and it
Right.
really kind of prepared us for the here and now, which is so different than it was 16 years ago plus.
Yeah. How so? How is that different? I mean, let's dig into that.
Well,
Yeah.
I think, just the environment itself, I thought I was going to go find other people that were just like me or just like my
Right.
husband, but the
Hmm.
dynamics had changed already. We also both came from not much. And
Right.
or some say nothing. My husband always says, you had dirt floors. I didn't have dirt floors. They were just dirty. I was
I
like,
thought you,
it's different. It's
I thought you
different.
were going to do a
But
Drake
But
verse.
you were
I
in
thought you were going to
Hawaii,
start
so
yeah.
at
you're
the
fine.
bottom and now we're at the top.
And
All
now
right.
we've
Yeah.
risen.
Yeah.
But, we worked very hard. I, got scholarships and worked hard to go to college and paid off every dime of my loans, which was a
Yeah.
lot because
Yeah.
I didn't understand the difference in costs from different colleges. So I just chose the one I liked the most and,
Hmm.
and then had to pay for it on the back end. But that fabric is very different. And I'm just used to the hard work and the sweat and pouring in and just doing better all the
On a,
time.
on a scale of 0 to pulling your hair out, when you hear people talk about government paying their student loans off, where are
You
you on
lost
that
me at
scale?
yeah, you lost me at government. But
Okay.
no,
They good.
I hear, the thing is, in everything, there is probably a good intention somewhere. The
Right.
problem is it just gets put on this wide blanket scale and it's
Yep.
just brushed over. And I think, then accountability is lost and,
100%.
Right.
entitlement rises, but then the people who really need it get stuck in this, you don't deserve it, um,
Right.
lash out too. So it's so hard. I try not to do, blanket scopes, but I also
Right.
hear people, I mean, just think about unemployment.
Right.
When we were growing up, you didn't want to be on state funded food stamp. Although I
That's right.
swear we had
Right.
more food when we were on food stamps than those 2 months than ever before.
Right.
Hmm.
But you had, when you had to, you had to. And unemployment, I think there's just a misconception of what it's for and why it's there. We graduated and we weren't guaranteed a job in our field, and we just had to work. I think I was telling my team, the before I went to Deloitte, what I did that summer, I worked at Dairy Queen.
Oh,
And,
DQ.
it was just kind of this, but because you had to get a job,
That's right.
whatever
Right.
job was available, that's what you got. And so it's very different. I remember having a young person, so bright. He's doing fantastically now. But I guess my husband said, I'm so glad you weren't at lunch. I think you would have reached across the table and shaken him because he said he wanted to take time off
Oh,
and,
yeah.
just
Oh, a
collect some
gap year.
unemployment.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and he's like, no, he goes, do you know employers pay for that, not employees? There's no employee portion of unemployment. That's
Yeah.
employers. And so, as a small business, I think you feel it more and your heart's in it. And the
Right.
thing is, too, that we went about this. We could work for a big corporate, and that's great, but we wanted to give back in a way and travel the journey through people. A lot of people are going to use this as a stepping stone, and I
Right.
talk to them when they come in, and that's fine. That makes sense. But I want them to leave stepping up and stepping out somewhere, not, disgruntled, not anything. I expect them to come to the table and talk through whatever it is. And if they want to leave, that's great. That's what we do. We find places for people to
Hmm.
go.
Right.
So
Right.
let us help the journey. And honestly, some people will take advantage of that and some people won't. And you just have to have that open-handed embrace, I call it, is give of yourself, and you can't be responsible for what they do with it. And sometimes that's hard.
Ryan.
Oh, I thought you had a question.
Softwares.
I was listening to the journey. Hang on, let me
Because
mark
she's,
this down.
he grew up in staffing / RPO.
Okay.
So a little bit different
Mhm.
with RPO. It's just outsourced staffing. Fancy title,
Fancy.
but basically he would find talent and place talent as well. So he
Mhm.
came from a different place. But it seems, as you talk about it, it seems like you treat talent as if they were family. like I would say your kids, but basically like family. And I love the approach of just trying to make them better while they're with you. However long or short that is,
Oh,
you want them to be better when they leave.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting is it's much easier internally with our internal team.
Right,
That extension to our external team, some people embrace it really easily.
right.
Some people are used to just being, as part of staffing and
That's
going
right.
forward
It's
to
a
someone else.
transaction.
And
Yeah,
they do, but I think those are becoming far and few between, but you got to get them to trust you too. And you have to
right.
put your heart in. We had someone and he was actually on a visa, and it's when all the visa craziness was
Oh yeah,
happening,
yeah.
and they were really picking on staffing companies for one type of visa. And so we had 3 people under us on that visa type, and things were going as planned. But I talked to our legal team and I said, the thing is, if you're a company, you get slapped on the wrist. Maybe you get a fine. But if you're that person, you get your
right.
visa taken. You're
That's right.
done. And I
That's
said,
right.
I don't want to be responsible for that. To me, that's not right. And so we transferred 2 of our people to a company working for Microsoft. And then we transferred another one to a client of ours. And one of them, the whole process, he kept saying, what? I don't understand. Why are you doing this? What are you getting at? What are you doing this? And I said, and I kept explaining it to him, but he said, yeah, but you don't get anything. And I said, yeah, it hurts. But I said, I'm more concerned about what happens to you. Again, the company slap on the wrist, maybe a fine, but this is life changing. And
Yep.
so, interestingly enough, some clients too have a hard time with that. They're like, well, everyone's doing it. And the everyone's doing it thing has never gone
Never.
over with me. So it's, I get the frustration because people don't like change, but we hope that when you explain the people piece of it, if you're doing the right thing, everyone should be in agreement. And at the end of the day, we're the ones losing. That's what's amazing to me. Financially, we're losing. So we're trying to keep everybody else whole and work through it. So, but in all things, it's amazing who comes to the table and who doesn't.
Did your parents give you the everyone's jumping off a bridge? Did you
Yes,
grow up with that bit?
yes. My
Yeah.
dad all the time.
Doesn't
Yeah.
everybody get that? That's like
My wife
standard.
uses it on my youngest son all the time. Whenever
My
he
wife
says
uses
something
it
like
on
that.
me.
Yeah.
I get that
On you.
still. Yeah. So where does your motivation come from? You guys have been at this for 16 years, and I'm sure you've been through a lot of ups, but I'm sure you've been through many more, hopefully not more downs.
Yeah.
But where's the motivation come to keep driving?
I think, it was different probably when I started than where I am now. Right now, it really, carrying over people has become all consuming for me. I mean, we have 3 pillars. One is the operational pillar, one is the professional development, and one is the culture, the people, the engagement pillar. And I just grab onto those so much because we started in 2008, so not a great
Oh,
time to start a
that's a
small
perfect
Great
time.
year.
business.
That's a
Why not?
perfect
But we
time.
figured, hey, if we make it through this, we're gonna sail. And
That's a good
it was
point.
great. And then 2020 happened, and we said, hey, all those saving for a rainy day funds, this is the rainy day.
Yep.
And so we navigated that, and quite honestly, 4 years later, boy, it's still a tough changing market. So we're still
Right.
navigating through that. But, small businesses, we've broken all of the, you don't last, through 5 years.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's hard, and employment laws keep changing and it makes it tough. But I think number one, the people on the other side, we've been so fortunate. And I think all of us, and in one of our meetings, I did a just talk on what we have, because our vision is, we don't measure success by what we have, but what we have to give. And that's really important. And I said, we look at things and people say, I need this, I need that. And coming from not much and being able to go to college and then, surviving those we're accountants, and I would say, oh, is my check going to go through for rent this month? It's things like that. And
Can
some
you
people,
cash this on Tuesday?
yeah, can you just hold on to that for a second?
I post-dated it anyhow.
I did that so
Oh,
many times, so many times. But it's
rules
hard
were
because we
broken.
have plenty. We do. I mean,
Yeah.
if we just had some major damage on our home,
Oh,
and
bless you.
and people are like, wow, that's a lot, like reconstruction. And I said, it is. But the thing is, that's what you get when you own a home. When you're privileged to own a home, you're
That's right.
privileged to deal with
Mhm.
all the other stuff that comes with it, just like a
100%.
car, and so
Mhm.
it's just shifting the mindset on that and realizing we do have plenty. Even if we want more, we have plenty.
Oh, yeah. But way more. My
Mhm.
mother, because I grew up legally blind. So occasionally I get down,
Mm.
because I couldn't see that well, and I had really thick glasses and stuff like that. And she said, "Listen, you think you have it bad? Check.
Mhm.
Everyone has something. Everyone
Yeah.
you meet in your lifetime has something that's pulling at them, something that's either real or imagined."
Mhm.
And then it stuck with me for like every time
Yeah.
I would do that through my life. I
Mm.
would see someone. It was weird because every time, especially vision related, I would see somebody that was blind, like
Mm.
actually blind, right? Or
Mm.
I'd see somebody in a wheelchair or something like that. I'm like, you know what? I don't have it that bad.
Yeah.
I can still function. I can still see.
Mhm.
These people are walking with canes and reading Braille.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? Get over yourself. Get on with it. Move on. So that little pity party, for me, she gave me a coping mechanism to get over a
Yeah.
pity party
Yeah.
really quickly, just by looking at other people, just by being observant.
Mhm. Mhm. I love that. The whole get over yourself and don't throw yourself a pity party.
Yeah.
Those were things that I've always told myself too. I love what you said about there's someone who has it worse, or
Oh,
at different seasons of time and in each of our lives something happens, and it's so
oh yeah.
true. My kids, we were driving to this place in Eastern Washington called Leavenworth one day, and I don't know how we got on the subject, but it was kind of I think probably one of them started complaining, but to this day, they just repeat this in the house because I was like, you know what? You have to get up and just face the world every day, whatever it is. And I was like, just tell yourself, I go, the day already hates you. What are you going to do about it? Tomorrow's not looking any good better. And they were like, Mom, that's like the worst motivational speech ever. And so we
Oh, I'm
just kept,
stealing that. I am
they were,
I
so
love it.
stealing that.
every once in a while they'll be like the day already hates you.
Yeah.
And
Now
but
what?
it is what it is. And it's just everyone has brokenness now
Yes.
Yeah.
or at some point, and this is my heart just hurts so much for our kids, especially post COVID, especially after going through we call them lockdowns, I don't
Yeah.
economic shutdowns.
Right.
And we're only starting to see evidence of a greater need to address those things in our
Right.
kids. And, that's going to go on for a while. And I remember
Sort
when
of a
our
ripple.
schools, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's left a giant wake that everybody's pretending not to see, and
Yeah.
it's going
It's
to
like,
rear its
oh, I don't
ugly head.
understand.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No,
Yeah.
what?
No, no.
Well, this class that graduated college or will graduate here in
Mm,
this May, they didn't go to prom. They didn't walk
yeah.
their
Right.
college. They didn't walk their high
High school.
school graduation. And in some cases at larger schools, they're not going to walk their college
Yeah.
graduation. It's like
Mhm.
that stuff 20 years from now, they'll be going to therapy, dealing to unravel,
Yeah.
to
Unpack all
unravel,
of that.
unpack all of that
Yeah.
why me type of
Hmm.
type of stuff, which everyone would have. I'd feel that way if I went through that stuff. So I think it's
Yeah,
Yeah.
natural and normal for them to feel that way.
Yeah.
for
There's
sure. And
a
sorry, Ryan.
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, as a parent, but also as a leader,
Hmm.
piggybacking on that, very big push to work remote. I get it. I'm remote
Right.
now, so I
Right.
get it. However, the professional development piece, the engagement, we see the statistics of the engagement
Oh yeah.
declining, the
Yeah.
loneliness factor. I'm just thinking we're compiling things on top of each other. We haven't even really recovered from what all happened in 2020.
You should do remote once you're healthy.
Wait, yeah,
This will be a
and we're
reward.
exactly
You're emotionally stable.
we're
Okay.
good to
Yes.
go.
Now you
But
can
it's
Do
work
just,
remote.
remote.
then the development piece for people who are,
Yeah.
younger in their careers. I mean, not even younger. We all need it throughout our career. So
Mhm.
I worry about those. Not worry is not a good word. I'm concerned about those pieces, and those are the pieces that I really try to keep intact with my team because of being aware of it.
Yeah.
So working
How
with.
do we?
Oh, go ahead. Go
I
ahead,
would
Ryan.
say, how do we mentor these people? So the younger people that are coming up, how do we mentor them and help them through all this?
I think communication is really important, and that the relational aspect is critical. You know, these these kids have so much potential and they have so much at their fingertips that we didn't have, but
Right.
those same things kind of bleed them of
Mm-hmm.
the relational pieces and navigating things, and things are so rapid. And I think that taking a step back is really important. I mean, even if you're like, all right, as a family, I'm going to do it. I mean, there's so much that parents now just have to intercede and do. It's like we're leaving our electronics at home and we're going to Tonto National Park just to be outside and away and
Yep.
with each other. And, the inkling isn't, yeah, okay, this sounds good. I want to be. They want to stay home. They
Oh
want to
yeah.
stay on their
Yeah.
phones. They want to
Yes.
stay, they want to stay disconnected until you show them that they remember being connected. We are
And
Right.
relational
and they'll
beings.
complain the entire time,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you've pulled like eyelashes or something,
Mhm.
like some
Yes.
torture trick, all the
Yeah.
way through
Yeah.
up until the moment they're like, "Well, this is kind of cool." Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
We're going through that now. When we were just talking,
Mhm.
which I'm a little upset about this. So Jennifer, I'll tell you the quick story.
Okay.
My kids, so my girls they were all part of Girl Scouts.
Mhm.
Two of them still are. So they do what's called beach jam every year. They go to the beach, they camp on the beach, and it's usually just the girls. Those three, my
Mhm.
wife, they go, and I get the weekend to myself.
You already see where this is
There it
going,
is.
right?
Thumbs up,
You already
right?
see where this is
Yeah,
going?
there's a
Yeah.
positive to this, right? So two things with that. Number one, it's not this weekend, William. I thought it was this
Oh,
weekend, and I was going to have the whole weekend for myself
oh,
to
dude,
go
that is the
fishing. And
worst.
then next week, I go on a fishing trip. I'm like, this is fantastic. 10 out of 14 days, I'll be fishing. No, they're going to beach jam the same week that I go away. That's
Oh,
not
that's
very
horrible.
useful. Yeah,
No,
it's
that's horrible.
horrible. It's not a good idea. Okay, so here's what we're going through now. They are going. The anxiety is through the roof because they cannot find a charger that will last them 3 days, 2 days on the beach. Like, what are there going to be plugs? What am I going to do? They're
Mhm.
spending. They have in the Amazon cart $40 and $50 chargers, multiple of them, so they can pre-charge them and have them ready. I'm like, guys, you're going to be around 700
Mhm.
of your closest Girl Scout friends. You're on
Yeah.
the beach. What are we doing? They
Yeah.
they can't do it. They can't let go. And I'm trying. I
Yeah.
understand it's who they are and what the society, all that stuff. But I'm having a problem here,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
like trying to let go of this.
You're at
Yeah,
the beach, so there's
I-
something in front of you that you could
I
yeah.
be
keep
doing,
I keep
That
interacting
you can
with.
removing it.
engage
I
in.
remove it from the Amazon cart. They keep putting it back in.
Mhm.
It's like a game for them. I'm like, no, I'm really not paying for this. It's not.
But that's it, is we're losing that relational piece
Yes.
Yeah.
and we won't be able to fulfill it through a digital
Yeah.
device.
Right.
Yeah.
And when that, again, it's everything is just compiling on itself. And so, for the Girl Scouts, that kind of upsets me. It's us again as leaders
Yeah.
doing things that are the right thing and are purposeful, intentional, and talk and communicate the whys, but doing them anyway, not being, it doesn't matter if someone likes my decision as long as
Right.
I feel like I'm
Right.
doing my job, and saying, we're going to do this. And maybe you can say, for this hour, you guys have free, check up on your devices and stuff. For the other time, we're all putting this away. We had a pact as, parents for my son's class through fourth grade. Everyone was getting phones and we're like, we're not going to do it. I got the Gab
No.
watch. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. And you can't like take that back, but
Right.
for my daughter, what was hard is, she was in our house, but she was a few years, well, 6 years older, and they're all on their devices. They don't call each other, right?
No.
They don't
They
even
could be
text
sitting
each
right
other.
next to each other.
Yeah.
So she was kind of left out and
Mhm.
trying to engage. And when she talked about that, I understood this
Right.
was a different dynamic, but really having those time where we're like, set it down. People
Yeah.
bring their phones to work even now. That wasn't a thing. You're there to work, but there's
You're there.
so much overlap of, there's caring for the employee and there's
Right.
there's a line that is crossed over many, many times. And once it's crossed over, it's really hard to pull things back. But I've heard there are people who are driving forklifts
Yeah.
who are bringing their phones,
Mhm.
and it's gotten kind of out of hand. And I know my son actually was at schools right up until this year where they don't allow phones. So you either don't bring them or you have to check them,
Yep, check
at,
them.
at
That's our
each
school.
class,
I
or,
Yeah.
wish they would do
beginning
that
and end of
here.
school, which I
They
love, because when he went to public school and he walks in, this is the first school that had phones. So imagine starting school about a month later, in 8th grade, trying to integrate where people already know each other and they have their phones. It's, like talking to rocks.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah. What is it? What's it like working with your husband?
well, is he
If he's
around?
not there, you can tell the truth. He'll never hear this.
I think, again, fortunately for us, I tell him he's my best and my worst employee. He tells me, he goes, I fired you so many times. I'm like, I know, we keep just showing up. But I think we're fortunate, again, because we have different skill sets, really different skill sets. He's
Right.
sales, biz dev. That's what he loves. And he's an extrovert. I am not. I am an introvert. I like being in the background. I like making things work, but I know that I have to be in the forefront at different points in times. And then my team makes fun of me because we'll do team engagement. I'll be all on. I'll go home and just pass out. I'd just be like, and I'm
That was
done. And
exhausting.
I just want my
That was it.
corner and my dog, and everybody leave me alone. But I think we've been fortunate in that respect that, again, we have different skill sets. So it works. We're doing different things.
But it never stops, right? So like work is home, home, work. Like there's not an off button here, right?
So
Or is there?
there is. I think my husband was really good at that off button. So he pretty much enforced it, because I'm a
Right.
24/7. I'm just a
Yeah.
learner too. So I can't sit in front of the TV. Well, I do sometimes, but I'm also getting something else done. I just can't sit. It's constant. Someone told me that I'm probably undiagnosed ADHD, and I'm like, I don't know,
Yep.
but it's working in my favor right now. So let's
Not
just
only
keep
that,
going.
it's probably 6. There's 5 other things. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
We're gonna stick with it.
So yeah, I mean, when you have one person who he would just say, I don't want to talk about work, I'm done. So, because I'd save all my stuff to be like, well, I live with it, I'll just get this information. Well, no. And I've told the team, I'm like, don't think that I'm going to get this information when I go home, because it's shut down. So he really lays down the law.
Oh, that's
I
fantastic.
I think I'd have to do that if I worked with my wife, which would never
Yeah.
happen. She would just never do
Yeah,
it.
same with me.
Yeah, it would have to be like, no, you'll see me at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Like,
Mhm.
put it on the calendar. That type
Yeah.
of thing. So how
My
how
wife
do
and
you?
I could my wife and I could do it if she was your husband, because everyone loves her. If I didn't have to see anybody or interact with anybody, it could work. It
They'd
could
be
actually
fine.
work.
I
It could
was
work.
trying to figure out
Yeah.
how
I
that
was
would
like,
work.
what?
I'm like,
It could work because everyone loves her.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, and I could hide because I'm an introvert too. So I
Mm.
could hide, do the work, and she would do the front end. Yeah, I could see that working
Mhm.
now that I understand what y'all have. Sorry, Ryan, I
Oh,
interrupted.
yeah, no, I forgot what
Softwares.
I was gonna say anyway. It's all good.
We got to
No,
go
I'm kidding.
backwards to.
Yeah, so I was gonna go
Did you
back. I was
forget?
gonna bring it back, and yeah.
Okay,
So
you
so
usually
so
do.
walk us through some of this journey. You didn't just start running a company for the last 16 years. What happened before that? Where did this entrepreneurial spirit come from?
That, I was thinking about that very question last night, and I thought, because that's not me. I'm not a risk taker by nature. I'm a type A. I like everything planned out for me. Um, Quite honestly, I think it started when well, really, I think there were probably hints of it when I was little. I was just a survivor, resilient,
Mm-hmm.
just fighting for myself. My brother, so Asian culture, my brother, firstborn son, he's so smart. Everything was about him, and so he got the brunt of everything too. I could
Right.
have just sailed through life, but I wanted to prove that I could do it too, and I was smart too, and so I worked really hard, and it was my own doing. And I think that served me well as well. So I think those seeds were planted. But when I was about late in my 20s, I was invited to a Bible study. And I remember not wanting to go because it was on Monday nights and football was on Monday nights. So that cut into my time. And I was just
I
like,
like
and
God, but you know what?
God's for
I don't
There's
know.
Sunday.
I got
that.
some important stuff.
Yeah.
So the funny thing is my friend kept inviting me, and it was her birthday. So I thought, fine, all right,
Gotta go.
I'll gift her,
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I
My
showed up.
presents.
I'll
I'll
give
My
gift her my
to say
presents,
that.
right? So
I'll
you
gift her
can
my
see
presents.
the just
The
utter arrogance that
entitlement's
was
not
going to
definitely
be
wasn't there.
crushed.
That's so great.
Yeah.
I'll
But
show up.
well, and she showed me because and she's just the sweetest, kindest person, but she didn't show up because her parents took her to dinner because it was her birthday. So I was left on my own, and I didn't even know what was going on. There were so many people, I didn't know. But it was the first time I actually knew that's where I was supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah.
And I really connected in and just started a journey of reflecting on myself instead of just learning in my mind. And I think that changed everything. It just reshaped having a purpose.
Yeah. Bible study
Having
can do that.
right.
It's wicked that way.
It is
Because you
wicked.
go
Having
in like, we're gonna
birthright.
study Exodus.
Yeah. Oh, mine was
Really?
numbers. Who
Yeah.
reads
Ooh,
numbers? What is this?
no one.
But
Favorite
you
book is
know,
Job. I can read
oh,
Job every other
ouch.
day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Love Job.
Good ending though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I think that really is it. Is it caused the focus to be on me inside as far as the convictions and working on yourself, and then pouring out the good stuff, that lens. And that's really what shaped it, I think, is that purpose. And what am I doing? Because this road, whether it's, audit or accounting and SEC reporting, it was I loved it so much, but it was serving me.
That's right.
And I thought there was more of a foundation. So I consulted a little bit, had fun, and then I actually was offered the perfect job. It was, make up what you want to do. Tell us what your role is. It was close to home. I could bring my dog and my daughter at that time. And it was my husband who said, I don't think so. And this was his idea to start a company because this is what he had been doing. And he said, I just want to do things a little differently. And so we honored his non-compete. We actually started in Arizona so that we could honor the non-compete. And then we brought the company back to Washington State. So I think that's what started it, is having a purpose, figuring out what you want to do with yourself, because it's not just about working and getting the money. It's what comes
Right.
after that. It's the people, and it's what you do with the money, where you spend your time giving.
100%. 100%. I've read the Bible, the Holy Quran, and the Torah.
You
And
have.
I have. And in
I
all three cases, they're all a mirror. At different points in reading, it's all, you're looking into yourself. You're reading a story, yes, but you're looking into yourself. You're looking inward to figure out, okay, everyone's broken, as you said earlier. And the brokenness kind of moves around at different times and stages in one's career. And so it's like, okay, what do I do?
Yeah.
It's not left to, it's not left to chance. You've got to actually push those things yourself. So I love that. I love that
There's
story.
such accountability there.
Yep. Well, that's fantastic. So a younger Jennifer, let's say high school, what did you want to be when you grew up? And why the hell did you leave Hawaii? I'm sorry. No. What'd you want to... We'll get to that later. No, I'm just kidding. What'd you want to be when you grew up?
Their dirt floors weren't very good.
Yeah, I remember there was dirty. I was tired of cleaning the floors. The title of what I wanted to be was uncertain. I just knew I wanted to go to college. That was certain.
Yeah.
I thought maybe law. I thought maybe a teacher. Accounting wasn't in the mix. It just wasn't.
How'd you get talked to? Did you have to do a 100 level
no
class?
I got bullied into it, actually. No, I say that. No, with
how does one get bullied into becoming an accountant? Let's talk about this.
So no, this is terrible. I do have to go. So I had a professor. Well, I was thinking law. I loved law, and I was thinking, okay, well, I'm going to do this, But then I had an accounting professor, and she was just amazing,
Yeah.
just very certain, really good professor, all in, super passionate. And she actually called me up, and it was Professor Deborah Smith. She changed my life. She called me up and she said, Jennifer, I see you don't have an advisor. I'm going to be your advisor. And that was it. My accounting was, I declared, and I had my path, and off we went, and best decision ever. And I don't fear people in general, but
Right.
man, she intimidated me because I looked at her and I was like, this person knows what she's doing.
Right.
She will see every piece of me that I'm faking, everything that I'm uncertain about. And, she had that, but she treated people with such kindness, and not flowery kindness,
Right.
where you're like, oh, you're so amazing and you look so good. Not that at all. But she found your strengths and she knew your weaknesses. And she would say, use this way. And one of the things she told me was, Jennifer, you're I don't remember the word she used, but kind of in hand with being naive. She
You grew up in a
said,
bubble.
yeah, you're on an island still, but it worked. She
Literally.
said, use your smile, use that, and just listen, because people are not going to give you credit for
Yeah.
what you do know.
And they're not going to see you coming.
Yeah, and that's exactly what she said.
Yeah.
And I appreciated the way she said that, because I just
Right.
totally jumbled it and everything. But
It was a compliment.
she was one of the most amazing and giving. And I would say that's one thing. All the professors at University of Puget Sound at the time I went, they were all in. They knew you had loans, or it's just high tuition, and they wanted you to get your money's worth. I mean, if you didn't show up for class, you would get a call from your professor. That's, it was that much. She actually took me home to her home one weekend, because it was like a long weekend or something, and she knew I didn't have family in the area. And I was amazed. I was like, this is a person who was so generous, and she had horses, and I remember she had I think it was a red Ferrari. I don't know my cars very well, but it was really nice. She let me drive it back to school and back for a meeting. And she also helped me with my interview prep and everything. And she worked at Deloitte when it was Touche Ross.
Yeah.
So, having her behind me, I feel like really was the gateway, because I know when they do recruiting, it's mostly UW, some of the other schools, and normally they would only take one
Right.
from my school, but they took two. They took me and someone else, and I really attribute that to her and not my own doing. So I say bullied, and I'm really kidding.
Right.
But I was terrified at the time, but it was all good for me. And she set my feet on the right path. And to have someone believe in you so strongly and show it and pour themselves into you just marked my heart and my life forever. I want to be that to someone else.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Jennifer, the next question kind of builds on that. I'm always interested to understand how people build their circle. Successful people are building their circle. How do you build that? Who do you thrive around, and how do you select those couple of people that you can trust?
That is a great question. And I'm glad you asked that, because when I bring people into the company, one thing I say is always check what I'm saying. I'm going to tell you, and I'm an honest person. I'm all about truth. I will make mistakes along the way, but even if you trust me, go do your own homework. That is really critical, that
Genius.
you get there on your own as well. But always have people 5-7 years or senior, 10-12 years or senior and plus, and have those people be your mentors. There was a point in time when I think mentors went away a bit,
Right.
and people were just talking to each other. And I thought, what are you going to learn? You're going to learn people who want the likes or this and that, and they're going to appease you and not challenge you. And they haven't walked that road, so they really don't know. They're just going along with you, and they like what you like. And so I think early in your career, especially, it's so critical to look toward people who are your seniors. And as much as you can in school, in college, and in any organization that you're with, try and find a program that builds that. And if you can't find one, build one, because there are so many people willing to step out and help you. There's so many people. All you have to do is ask. And then as you get along in your career, networking, as much as it exhausts me to get out there, it is also very inspiring. And it doesn't matter if it's someone with your same background or a group meeting
Right.
with it. It's even better sometimes when they don't have the same background, but they're just a great connection point. And in the mix, you meet a lot of great people and you help each other, but there are going to be those anchors that keep coming along with you during the course of your career and your life, and you'll make some incredible friends too. So I say be intentional about owning that journey for yourself.
Last question from me. Do you have another professional development that you'd like to achieve, or is there something that you'd like to learn that's around the corner?
Yes. What that is, I'm not sure. I will say this. I just talked about this yesterday. One thing that's always been on my heart, I grew up dancing hula, so I don't use that at all anymore. But I've always thought that maybe I should be learning sign language.
Yeah.
And I think I might, just start that. On the academic front, we're always learning. And in the field, working with IT consultants, everything. We're in an innovative field, so something's
Right.
always there. I also did write a book this year, which was really new. I'm not much of a reader, so it was a really interesting journey, but I want to use that in some way, and we're figuring that out right now to transition. Okay, what has my journey been, and what can I do to influence people in a really positive way, and use that to really make that impact piece bigger now that I am getting older and more seasoned in my career.
Well, Jennifer, this has been an amazing conversation, refreshing to say the least, and
Yeah.
we had a
Truth.
good time learning from you. Thank you very much for your
Thank
time. We
you.
appreciate it and for sharing your insights here with the audience. Until next time.